Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I fully intend to support this amendment before us. There's a lot of people in our state that have a lot of problems. There's a lot of priorities that are just going by the wayside. This is a very laudable goal to help those who are struggling, to keep their power on, to keep to power their house, to stay warm. This, I think, is common sense. People who are playing by the rules are working very, very hard. And I'll be honest with you, I'm tired of what I've heard here tonight as far as being accused of insensitivity, because there are some of us, including myself, who does not agree, with all due respect, people who are here illegally, right? And I heard made reference to there are residents of this state who are undocumented, meaning they're not citizens of this country. And I was a little bit confused by that term, because I don't know how you can be a resident of Connecticut and not a citizen of the United States. I don't know how we reconcile that, number one. But again, in our state, we're saying if you're here illegally, you're in violation of federal law, and you're in this country, we're going to give you free health care, and in the amount of $116 million over the next 2 years, right? What do you think that's going to say to folks? Are they going to go to other states that don't allow that, or are they going to come here, right? People need to follow the rules. And I am not anti-immigrant. This is a country of immigrants. That lady that's in the river in New York holding that light, that torch in her hand, we welcome immigrants, but we have to do it the right way. You have to play by the rules and follow the rules. This $116 million that's allocated through Medicaid and some other funds over the next 2 years is ill-conceived. Mr. Speaker, for the last 5 years since COVID, I heard some conversation this evening from one of the proponents of the bill that during the COVID years, there was a lot of damage done to our children as a result of the COVID response. I would agree with that. Do you know there's another group of people who are really hurt very, very hard during the pandemic, during the response to COVID? That's our first responders, particularly our volunteer first responders, people who rise to the occasion at very inopportune times. I've been trying to pass a bill for the last 5 years that our first responders are struggling, are hurting, and one of the tools that's been in the toolbox to try to help to get volunteers is they offer a stipend check, an annual stipend check between $1,200, $1,500, maybe it goes up to $2,000. It's been very successful in getting people into volunteer service, getting more volunteer firefighters, volunteer EMTs, fire police, and they're not employees. They are so they pull a contracted 1099 form, a lot of the municipalities and fire districts, on these volunteers if they go to so many calls and have so many certifications. And that check ends up getting eviscerated through state and federal taxes, and people are dropping out of service. We've lost 60% of our volunteer firefighters since 2017. I was very, very proud we got a standalone bill out of 2 different committees with over 30 co-sponsors from both chambers, both parties, that said we want to do this in Connecticut to tax exempt the first $2,000 of any volunteer, firefighter, EMS, or fire police stipend check. It was not included in the budget, and it's not been called here for a vote, and it wasn't included in this document of almost 700 pages. Because they're saying, how are we going to pay for it? There's a $250,000 fiscal note attached to that. And they're saying, how are we going to pay for that? But yet, here what we have, $116 million for people who are violating the law, and we're putting that over a lie heap, we're putting that over our volunteer first responders, to me, is misguided.
Outside of the chamber so the gentleman don't have to raise his voice when he's speaking. Thank you so much.
it is, we have to get our priorities straight. We have to get our fiscal house in order. Putting our volunteer first responders second to this literally be a drop in the bucket, but yet we can't do it. But yet we can find $116 million to give health insurance to people who are here illegally and violating the law is a terrible, terrible precedent. And more importantly, even worse, it's sending a horrible message to our first responders and those who may want to be first responders. Do we really have their back when they're volunteers and we can't let them keep a $2,000 stipend check, which is usually mostly reimbursements? Remember, when they go to an emergency, they're going to our emergency. They're using gas in their gas tanks, leaving the dinner table, leaving their families to go at very inopportune times. Again, we got to get our priorities straight. This amendment does that. I really wish we did something with stipends. I'm going to be supporting this amendment 10,410. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.